taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today is December 17th. S&P down 23, NASDAQ down 64, Russell down 10, Dow is down 208. Gold and silver are both down over 0.5%. Bonds a little bit green, notes a little bit red, 10-year yield flat, oil down 1%, natural gas down 2.5%. Soybeans down 0.5%, corn and wheat both a little bit green, euro and the pound close to unchanged, Bitcoin up 1.5%, over 108,000 on the futures. VIX getting a little pop, up over 9% at the freeze at 15.09. Had a little retail sales this morning, retail data. Looking at a 5-minute chart of ES on my other monitor here, didn't really do much. It had a little bit of a bounce. Just been kind of trending lower all evening, all night, all morning. So I've got a few things I got to do before I can focus on day trading this morning. I've got to close a 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 4, 7 double calendars. I've got to enter a 6-7 put calendar. I've got to enter a 1 DTE iron condor. So I will be getting those done, a couple of them done right out of the gate, and then be able to focus on day trading. Good morning, Eric G. Tesla's up another $10. Morning, Neil. The good news is all of that is automated except for my 1, 2, which I had to manually enter to avoid some strike conflict. So I'll have to manually close that one. The others, I just need to copy the exit and post it in the calendar channel. Don't forget, we've got FOMC tomorrow. Wouldn't doubt if we just see some choppiness today and tomorrow, but we'll see. Never know. Could see some decent opportunity. NVIDIA is down over 2%. AVGO, Affirm, PLTR, Robinhood, NVIDIA, biggest red on my board. AMD's down over 1.5%. On the green side, Riot Blockchain's up 3%, Tesla up 3%, MU's up 1.6%, MSTR up 1%. Yeah, maybe a little bit later here on the stream, Krish. Once I kind of get through the open bell in 1 second, there it is. All righty. So I got something trying to fill here. Take care of my 1, 2. Close my 1, 2. Two was posted. So got filled on my 6, 7 put calendar. The calendars are cheap, 45 cents. All right, so expected move in SPX about 20.1. Tesla coming down a little bit. Coinbase and Google bouncing. Meta bouncing. Expected move in NDX about 126. All right, so Tesla, a little pullback out of the open. Google pushed up to yesterday's high and got pushed back down. NVIDIA's opening down. I had a swing trade in NVIDIA that I just need to get rid of here. I was looking for a bounce, not a gap down. NVIDIA has been, I think NVIDIA's kind of been holding the market down a little bit. This last couple weeks. Tesla's been carrying all the weight. Amazon, little drop at the open. So on a relative strength basis so far, we've got Apple and Meta are a little bit, a little more, had a little up move, while the S&P and the NASDAQ were down, and Google a little bit. Give things a little bit to shake out. Amazon still pushing lower. After a big strong rally yesterday afternoon and hit an all-time high, taking a little pullback. All right, so I've got my 1-3 set to close here in a few minutes. My 2-4 set to close it in about 10 minutes. And my 4-7 is up almost 20%. That'll close here soon as well. I'm going to put on a 1DTE. We'll see how the decay is with FOMC tomorrow. My intent is to transform it as quickly as possible. That'll go on here in a couple minutes. S&P and NASDAQ still acting a little bit weak. VIX up to 15.29. Meta had that bounce, gave it all back. Apple staying strong. So Apple of the big boys is acting the strongest. Apple close to new all-time highs. If it pushes above yesterday's high, that would be a new all-time high. Tesla coming down to yesterday's high and bouncing. May have just wanted to fill that little gap before it makes another leg up. Yeah, MSTR potential volume bar. Also SMCI to the upside. MSTR is bouncing. All right, so bar closed. So we got an upside volume runner, an SMCI, and a downside in MSTR. We got that bounce on the volume bar on MSTR, but here, let me put it over here. SMCI is giving a little pullback. So SMC already kind of took off. Didn't really give much of a pullback. I mean, it did on that same volume bar, but then just kind of took off. MSTR. I just don't like the potential risk all the way up to the top of that bar. Tesla looks like it wants to hold yesterday's high so far. So I got fill in my 1 DTE. Let me post that. Apple. Big move, big strong move. Nvidia bouncing. So Nasdaq's starting to bounce. S&P's still trading near lows, but we got some bounces coming in. Google's getting back up. Apple's going into beast mode. So your risk on entry for shorting MSTR is a little bit better now. But I don't like that wiki bottomy look. We'll see if it chops around here below the top of that big volume bar, might consider it, but I'm going to pass for now. Apple's going to have a mighty 90, but I don't think I want to get in front of that train. Now S&P back up to highs of day. NASDAQ pushing up. So my 1-3 was supposed to close. So it was my 1-4. I'm going to have to figure that out real quick here. 6,000, 6,100. Sorry, guys, give me just a minute here. $60, $20, $60, $75. So my 4.7. Okay, so MSTR is still below that big volume bar. Got a potential lower risk entry. It still looks a little bit bottomy on that way it bounced. SMCI also pulled back for potential better entry long. Apple is pulling back off of that mighty 90 volume. Google taking off new highs, new all-time highs. Tesla already back up to the top of its range. Apple and Google leading the way. Tesla's also up 2.5%. A little pullback out of the gate. Still pretty choppy. I mean, S&P is inside the first 5-minute bar range. Although we're having some decent moves in some stocks. Is anybody short MSTR or long SMCI? So yeah, I mean that's why it didn't look good to take a short in Apple. I had that little pullback after that volume pop, but right back up through highs. Google strong, Tesla back up, Tesla back to being Tesla. Yeah, I think I'm going to take an MSTR here. I'm going to go 400 puts in MSTR. 400 puts in MSTR. Filled at 14 even. Trading the 3 DTE, by the way. Yeah, I just did a couple contracts here. I'll set my first profit target at 1550. It gets down towards lows of day, that'll hit. Microsoft back above yesterday's high. So Microsoft, Google, and Apple and Tesla, all very strong. Amazon's super weak, down almost 2%. Meta is slightly green. MSTR still chopping. So UPST, I'm looking at a daily chart on my other monitor. See how this is one that I was trading yesterday. I thought it may have a little bit of continuation higher. Now today it came right back down to yesterday's low and bounced again. So we're kind of putting in a little bit of a level rejection there at the 81.22-ish level, 81.2 level. We just got back all of the loss of that first 5-minute bar. So I'm going to be watching this one. This may be one that I take a day trade in here. I'm already long from overnight. I bet new highs. Yeah, volume bar. If you want to get long Bitcoin on a volume bar, which would be kind of counter to being short MSTR because they're typically going to move somewhat together. And MSTR, I'm about to stop out of. I just, didn't really like that one, but so it ticked above the volume bar. Let's see what it does here. Got about a minute and a half left on this bar. The Tesla rocket is in full effect. Google and Apple, little pullback. Microsoft, little pullback. Tesla, no pullback. Tesla, no chill. Microsoft coming down now. Apple and Google coming down. Nasdaq's coming down. S&P, a little down move. So still holding MSTR, ticked above that volume bar, but just giving it a little bit of time. Got about just a few seconds left here on this 5-minute bar. NVIDIA rolling back over. Yeah, that was a good trade by Chad in NVIDIA or in Tesla. Just using yesterday's highs, kind of a line in the sand. It just bounced right off that thing and took off. Amazon all the way back down to yesterday's lows. Gave it all back from yesterday. Meta coming back down to lows. Google coming back down to yesterday's highs. NASDAQ through lows of day. I'd like to see how Apple and Google hold up here. Microsoft fell apart, but I'd like to see how Apple and Google hold up here with the market coming down. Coinbase back down through lows. A lot of things starting to get weak. Apple's holding up pretty well. MSTR started to come down again and it popped right back up. Definitely not flushing with the NASDAQ coming down pretty decent. Tesla, a little pullback. Microsoft looked like it was going to stay strong with Google and Apple, and it just fell apart back down through lows. All right, MSTR coming back down. Still have my first profit target at 1550. Coinbase creating a mighty 90. Looking at the 315 calls in coin. It's already bounced a decent amount. Amazon getting a little volume bump as well. I like the separation in coin a lot better. S&P approaching lows of day. NASDAQ pushed through its lows. Just want to see if coin's going to make another push lower here. I'm going to get in with a small size in coin and then potentially add 315 calls in coin. Filled at 845. Yeah, they can move together, but they're not super correlated. I mean, look at the price action just today. All right, so filled at 845. I'll put my first profit target at 920. Filled at 920. So I just did 3 and I just got out of 2. So we just approached yesterday's low, so we may get rejection here. Let's see if it can push through. Google, nice bounce off yesterday's high as NASDAQ and S&P bounced. Microsoft bounced off of its lows. Amazon had that little volume bump right at yesterday's lows. Nice bounce. CrowdStrike had a little, I don't know if I would have taken that, little volume bump, little mighty 90 long, and it's bouncing. Tesla, a little two-bar pullback. MSTR is just chopping. No follow through on that volume bar. I would definitely rather be long coin than short MSTR. Just looking from a crypto related standpoint, but we'll see. Could make money both. Yeah, coin went up and touched yesterday's lows, coming back down a little bit. Nice bounce in Amazon. S&P trading near lows of day. NASDAQ bounced a little better off of its lows. It's pretty choppy though. Tesla, a little dip and bounce back up towards highs. Coinbase coming down. Coinbase back through lows. Got one contract left in coin. $15.50 hit in MSTR to close half. Tesla back down a little bit. Everything coming down with the S&P and NASDAQ coming down. Just don't see a good reason to add here in coin. Coin's still coming down. It really got rejected off that yesterday's low. Google chopping around yesterday's high. The indices bounce. I would think Apple and Google might look for another leg up. So you could look at those as upside continuation runners. I like that Google has that yesterday's high as kind of its line in the sand right there. A little bit better than Apple. S&P and NASDAQ still both coming down. MSTR broke lows. Coinbase is coming down hard too, though. All right, I'm gonna get out of my last MSTR. Ah, missed it. Bounced. All right, filled at 1755 in MSTR to close. Still have one call in coin. I'm gonna try to see if I can get a bounce here. SPX bouncing. Tesla coming down. We'll pull back. MSTR still coming down. Never got my 2 green bars in coin. Did get out of 2 of 3, but the trade is a little bit red now. Google pushed down through yesterday's highs. Microsoft bouncing back. It's just kind of choppy. 2.5 point chop. PLTR's got a mighty 90. NVIDIA, a little bump. Like to see PLTR push down to yesterday's lows. It may bounce here after that little volume pop. Tesla, big pullback. Is the Tesla train coming to a halt today? S&P trading near lows. MSTR I got out of because I only did 2 lots, but it's still coming down. Still waiting for a bouncing coin for my 2 green bars. I'm sure I'll wait for 2, but yeah, PLTR bounced. Did not give that extra flush I was hoping for. Apple's holding up well. Google is not. Apple. I'm going to take an upside continuation runner in Apple here. 252 half calls in Apple. 252 half calls in Apple. Filled at 187. If this market can bounce, I think Apple would take back off. VIX still climbing. Google could not hold. I'll put my first profit target in Apple at 207. See, nice push in Apple, and the market didn't even move. So if we get a little bounce by the indices, that would probably help a lot. I'm just looking at it as an upside continuation runner. If it breaks below this consolidation area, that would be my exit point. But just relatively strong compared to anything else. And then, S&P starting to kind of just chop around. If we just get a little bounce, I think Apple could have the release to take off. I'd prefer to do something like this, like if it was down at yesterday's highs, but I'm just using the low of that little consolidation as kind of my line in the sand here. See if we can get a bounce out of coin and get out of that one. Tesla's starting to bounce. Meta pushed through yesterday's lows and bounced. Now it's coming back down. You didn't hear me, Dark Avenger? It's just an upside continuation runner. Had a big push, consolidated, market's falling. It stayed strong, using the bottom of that consolidation as my line in the sand, looking for a continuation higher. Ooh, pushing down through lows. So it looked like Microsoft, Google, and Apple were all going to be kind of the leaders, but Google and Microsoft fell apart, but Apple stayed strong. Nice mighty 90 bounce out of PLTR.
Everyone, we're about 1 hour into the day.
All right, so Krish or anybody else, what questions do you have from the video I posted yesterday? I mean, Apple is one example. Obviously, we're pushing new all-time highs. It's from a relative strength standpoint, it's the strongest on the board, even with the market going down. So that was kind of one of the concepts I talked about. Yeah, scroll up in this channel. I posted it after the market yesterday. Abash. Nvidia starting to bounce. No bounce out of coin. I am going to bail on my last coin. Closed at 565. Bitcoin went from green to red. All the crypto stocks are getting hit. Maybe a pullback day for cryptos. So lost $130 on my coin. Made 505 on my MicroStrategy puts. So net green so far. Apple, need to push. Some decent swings, but also pretty, I mean, the indices are not a lot of range. There's some stocks with some range, and there's some others that are pretty choppy. We usually do a web class once a month, but it's for just non-members. It's just more like high-level overviews of different strategies. Abash. Apple, no follow through. S&P and NASDAQ, no bounce. Upside volume runner and SMCI would have worked. It's pushing up towards yesterday's highs. Krish, are you still on here? Calling Krish. Tell them you got other better stuff to do right now. Tell them you're busy. I'm going to be jumping off here in just a minute. Apple, I may be bailing on. See if we get a bounce here. Otherwise, Apple's going to get cut. I'm going to be done for the, we'll wrap the stream up. Tesla bounced. Now it's coming back down. This is just pre-FOMC garbage price action. I mean, there's definitely some opportunities. Nice mighty 90 and PLTR. That Tesla trade was a nice one that Chad took. MSTR worked. SMCI upside volume runner worked. Apple is testing my level, testing my patience. Okay. S&P and NASDAQ showing a little life. All right, so let me go over a couple of things that I'm going to be looking at here. later on this morning. So looking at a daily chart of UPST, I talked about this one. I've got a long overnight position, looking for some follow through to the upside. We've rejected that 81.20 level a couple times here, but I want to see it. I want to see it stay a little bit stronger, like above yesterday's close, and then I will potentially look at a day trade in UPST. SMCI, I held short overnight off of that kind of pushed up to yesterday's low and looked like it was going to follow through to the downside. We're right at that level again, so I want to see some downside here. If it pushes up much more, I'll close that out. If we do kind of reject that level again, I will potentially take a day trade in SMCI short. Let's see what else. That's about it. I mean, if I can, I mean, Tesla is just, might have some more upside. It's getting a little bouncy here. Apple still relatively nice and strong compared to the rest of the market, so I'm in that one. Microsoft looks like it may want to kind of retrace yesterday's bar. It's been kind of choppy, but looks like it may want to push back up to that high from 12th. So I'll keep it. Microsoft's approaching yesterday's high again. So it kind of looks like it just had to go down and flush out the lows of day and then grab some liquidity and take off to the upside. So I'll keep an eye on Microsoft. Let's see if there's anything else here. That's really about it. I didn't expect much today and tomorrow with the FOMC, but we'll see. Things can change quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But Apple, I've got my first profit target is still at on the 252 half calls at 207. So if it pushes up below highs of day, that would hit. And then I will scale out if it continues to push. Below the previous bar, I'd bail. So got a little bit of a bounce in NASDAQ and S&P. I would have thought that Apple may have bounced more than it did, but we'll see. All right, all. That's it for today. I'll post my results once I'm out. Have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon.